So I'll give you a big hint for that. I won't necessarily show you the answer because it's a short amount of code, but the ideas that happen there are really important. So right now we have something that repeats, and let's say we draw an ellipse, right? Inside here at 100, 100 of size 30, 30. And we're going to see 100 of them. I think I made a new pen, so this is going to be a counter demo. I got to be sure when I start a new pen that I add in the library, JS p5.js, save and close. And now it should be able, yeah, so then you see a circle, and you're like, okay, Mr. Chan, how is that 100 circles? Well, student, it is 100 circles, it's just all on top of one another, right? That was the progression of ideas. We use a variable here to help us out. Maybe it's 10 times I, and we'll see it grow across the page, xy's. So then when it runs, there's your bunch of circles. It goes from that side all the way over there. It goes to like pixels 1,000. So if I stretch it out, you see it stops, right? That's 1,000. Great. And so let's do something else. We want to be able to keep track of this. So two ways of like showing it. Like here, maybe you want to display the x coordinates text, right? You're going to display the text. Oh, this is going to be interesting. 10 times I. And I have to remember you need to define the upper left-hand corner like a rectangle. So maybe we'll make it pixel 100, y coordinate 200, and then you need the width of the box, 100, 100. Let's see what happens. Save and run. Hopefully we see some numbers. I forgot how text works. Someone remind me. Stroke. Is it stroke or fill? Stroke. 255. Let's make sure. Darn it. Yeah, the text. This part? Single? Yeah. Let's see. So we might just see, yeah, we see the words right there, right? See that? 10 star I. We will also change the fill to make it 255. But the idea here is I want to keep track of like the x coordinate, for example. And as it grows, it gives you a big hint on like the. Okay, yeah. So that's 10i. Was it text size, stroke weight? How do I control text size? Yeah, text size. Let's make it bigger. 100. Thank you. P5 is a bit rusty. There we go, right? It's like, wait a second, that's not what I wanted. 10i, it's too literal. I want to see the actual number. So then, yeah, it's telling me no. So now that that's there, let's go back to this. All the numbers are being displayed at once. You see the last 0? Because every digit previously was like 1 or 2 digits, right? And that's not very useful. It's all on top of one another. This might have been something you encountered when you were working on it. Then you're like, okay, Mr. Chan, how do I make that, how do I fix it? You can draw strategically a tiny rectangle that is the same size as text, but then you're going to fill the rectangle to erase the stuff that came before it. Oops. That's one way you can go about getting rid of it, because in this example there are a bunch of the backgrounds being drawn again and again. Fill 0. And then that's not quite long enough, so maybe we'll just make it 400. But then you notice, like, hold on, maybe you were expecting each time you run through it, you see the numbers increase. But in this case, you just see, oops, sorry, wrong direction. You just see the final number. Really, we should be seeing 100, and 99 is the one, or no, 99, yeah, we see 99. Then a weird 0. Oh yeah, 990, because this is x coordinate, not the exact number of i's. For example, if I change this right here to be just I, now it's like how many circles were drawn to the screen. And so, computer programming A, let me ask you, are there 100 circles up there or 99 circles? Look at the code. This is the stuff that matters. Line 11, line 12, and line 13. How many circles are on the screen? So that could be like a mini quiz question too. So notice line 22 prints out 99. What happens in line 23 soon afterwards? I++ is the same as I equals I plus 1. 99 plus 1? 100. And then you go back up, and you're like, okay, 100 is not less than 100. Like, okay, Mr. Chan, so there's 99 circles. Oh, but wait, you actually started at 0. So if you started counting at 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yada, 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 and then you end up at 99, how many numbers did you actually count? 100. So that's another thing you have to get used to, because lists and things start at 0, and typically as humans we talk and we start counting at 1, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth. So although the counter says 99, because we started counting at 0, there are 100 circles here. Yeah? And then maybe to make it match that, instead of having it before the increment, down here, we move it so that I now shows 100, which now matches up with the circles. So that's one thing. Ta-da. So far, so good? Now we're going to change it up a little bit more. One way to slow things down, because the weird thing as you're learning is the draw function is actually a draw loop. That's what allowed you to make animations. Things get drawn over and over again. They might get updated, like some randomness, so on and so forth. That's how we made animations. So there's a loop inside a loop. But what we want right now is really just the one on the inside. So to kind of get that counter motion, like you want to see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you want to see that happen, you can slow the frame rate down. Let's put that in setup, frame rate. And I think by default it's 60 frames per second, maybe we make it 20. And now you should see something very different. Darn it. It's not different. Is it frame rate? It is, right? I do? Oh, I do. So how do I make it even slower? No loop. Blast. Okay. Think. Because I wanted to show you that animation, because like to slowly tick. Let me think. No. Okay. Well, darn. Okay, so otherwise, let's say we wanted this to triple, right? So if you press the mouse, okay, we're going to increase the total number of circles. So here's the weird part. I is a variable, correct? So if you set the mouse, at first, let's reset it back to 0. We're going to get rid of this line of code up here. And let's see what happens. So save and run. If the mouse is pressed, it's going to reset I. Okay, let's see what happens. I kind of think it's going to have a mistake. So we should see the circles be redrawn. But as I click, notice, like, as I'm clicking, we don't see anything changes. Line 11 has something a little bit odd. I equals 0. But notice the statement of let. Let is very similar to var. When it gets declared again, it already got reset. So maybe in our code we move that up here. Var I equals 0. Comment this one out. Save and run. And now when this thing repeats, is it complaining? Reference not defined. Var, I placed it in the wrong spot. Var I equals 0. This should fix it. So there's 100. When I click, it goes back to 0. The while loop doesn't run. I equals I plus plus, text there, I equals 0. If mouse is pressed, I equals 0. I should have refreshed itself. No, darn it. Okay. Seems like my demo just ends there. Tomorrow, let me get the counter to actually tick up for you to help you understand the doubling pattern. But there's some ideas. You can use I, and the second idea I wanted to show you is like you can modify I down here. The stopping point right now is 100. Its starting point was 0. Its growing rate is 1. It's those 3 lines that you have to modify to get it to double each time. For example, when you start it off, there's 1. Then it stops at 2, stops at 4, stops at 8, so on and so forth. That's a hint for you. And then tomorrow I'll continue off with this thing.